Hi, and welcome to another edition of Studio 411. I'm your host, Larry De Silva. We've got an interesting pair of guests. We'll have one joining us now, and the second guest joining our first guest in a little bit. Actress Diane Robin is joining us from California, and Diane, for those of you who don't know, is a veteran actress who's been in a tremendous amount of films, RoboCop, Adventures of Babysitting. She also goes back to her first real important gig when she was on the ABC television show Angie. And we'll talk a little bit more about that and how she got in the business. Later on, we'll have her co-star and co-writer in a web series that they are wrapping up and getting ready to distribute. Davide Reali, Italian actor, will be joining us in the second half of the program along with Diane. Diane, welcome to Studio 411. How are you, Smiley?
Fantastic. How are you?
There you go. The woman has boundless energy. So if I start to fade, she'll just take over and she will just host the show from where she is in California. So Diane,
you're doing that anyway.
yes, exactly. Keep it moving. Keep it moving, she tells me. Keep it moving. So tell me now, how did you, or I have to ask, you were born in California, correct?
I was born in a place called Fairfax, which I found out isn't really a city. There's a Fairfax, Virginia, but there's an area called Fairfax, and everyone from there thought they were from New York. So I took speech lessons to get rid of a New York accent, and I had never been to New York. So I'm from Fairfax.
Okay, all right. And as a kid growing up, again, what did you want to be when you grew up? Was acting in your blood from the beginning?
I couldn't and still can't get enough attention. Yes, I always wanted to be an actress.
Okay.
There plays all my life, yes.
Siblings, only child? What? I'm trying to figure out now where you get your energy from. Were you like one of several?
No. I have a brother and sister, but my mother was very energetic, and I seem to have sort of morphed into mama. So yes,
there you go. There you go. All right. So then now we know where all that energy, mom. And she told me a story about mom off here, and I forget. But what was that story you were telling me about your mom? Something about when you got to be her age or something, I forget. But anyway, mom was a good lady, huh? Raised the family.
My mother was fantastic, yes. My mother always said, when I was in high school, she said, if you want to study acting, go to Strasbourg. Everything you do, go to the best place, always. So Mama was incredibly supportive.
And now you gravitated towards the Lee Strasberg Theater Institute. Of course, Lee Strasberg, famous acting coach, Brando, so many others that came through his tutelage primarily in New York City. So now in California, there was another branch that you got involved with or were fortunate to be accepted in? Now,
yes. I lied about my age, which I think women always should, and I said I was older, and I was the youngest person ever to be accepted in the Institute, and I had a scholarship there. And the first naked man I ever saw was at Strasbourg.
Okay. That must have been a sight.
No, they do exercises called sense memory, where you recall pain, or you recall sunlight, or you recall something. And some man got up and took off his pants and did his whole monologue, and everyone was acting like it was nothing. I never kissed a boy. I was like, oh my God, what's he doing? So I learned a lot there.
Wow, all right. And prepared you for the rigors and excitement of motion picture and television. Now, have you done a lot of theater? I don't get the impression that you've done. Have you ever wanted to do Broadway or regional theater?
To be honest, I always wanted to go to New York. I always wanted to do musicals. I didn't want to leave my mom.
Gotcha.
And that's why I never moved to New York to do that. Yeah. I went away for a year and I missed her so much. I said, I'm never doing that again. So, but I would have loved to have done more theater.
Now, amongst the many films that you've been a part of now in TV shows, now you've done some where they obviously were filmed on location. So, I mean, what was the longest stretch that you ever left your family to go, do a film?
I did The Relic, and we were in Chicago for 2 months.
Okay, 2 months. Wow,
And
that was before Skype and all this other technology. Yes. So Mom must have been like, "Please call me immediately."
Oh, trust me. But one day in my life, I didn't call my mother. One day in my whole life, and she called me up. She goes, "You didn't call me yesterday." I said, "You know what, Ma? I just want to feel like I'm being a little bit more independent. I want to break away." She goes, "Don't ever do that again." And I did it once, and after that, I called her. Always.
Mom was tough love for sure.
Yeah.
We had a guest on recently that amazed me. That they, without even thinking, went up to in Graceland, Elvis's estate, went up and rang the bell, and through a series of crazy events, actually got to get in there and meet Elvis. Okay, in your case, you actually snuck into, what was it, the Universal Studios lot? And again,
Okay.
Tell me about that great story.
That's not my fault. My first manager, she said, I can't get you an audition. She goes, just sneak onto the lot at Universal, go in a casting director's office, give them your picture and resume, and that's how you do it. So I said, okay. So I snuck onto the lot, I snuck into the office, and I thought, why is everyone making such a big deal about getting into show business? It's so easy. So I'm just ready to hand her my picture and resume, and I go this. And I look up, and it's a security guard. And he drags me out of the office, and he literally throws me off the lot. So I'm in the parking lot, and there's some man standing there. I said, excuse me, do you want to know what just happened to me? He goes, do you have a choice? I said, no, listen to what just happened. I tell him the story, and he goes, do you have an agent? I said, clearly no. If I had an agent, you think I would have done that? He said, I'm an agent. Come see me tomorrow. And that's how I got my first agent. And then 3 months later, I was on a show. I got Angie. So I probably shouldn't have snuck on the lot, but it ended up working out for me.
So the famous story of Lana Turner on what was it, Schwab's, yeah, and she just innocently sitting there. In your case, you took it many steps further. I'm gonna bulldoze my way onto the Universal lot. My goodness. Well, I guess what advice would you give a young? What it worked for you indeed. What advice would you give a young upcoming actor or actress? I mean, besides obviously learn their craft, but you know, I don't think that would go over very well in today's society. Now
you've got to show ID. You can't do that anymore. It's interesting you should say that, Larry. The other night we went to hear Henry Winkler speak, and he said that he got into Yale by ad-libbing Shakespeare. And he said, there's no straight path. You have to find what works for you. What is your strength? What works for you? There's no, definitely do this. But I would say to everyone, definitely study.
Oh, absolutely. Now, you mentioned your new friend, your new agent at the time, got you a cast in a show that was going on the air in the late 70s, Angie. For those who don't remember, Angie was a show that starred Robert Hayes, who later went on to do Airplane 1 and 2. Many other films, and young Donna Pescow, who most would remember from her movie co-starring role with John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever. And then she got this gig, and so everybody there was pretty young, and you had a veteran actress. We have a photo there of you guys back during the first season. Doris Roberts, the late Doris Roberts, who of course was best known from Remington Steele, Everybody Loves Raymond, marvelous actress who passed away a couple of years ago. Tell me, what was your experience with that crew?
When I had the audition for that, I had pneumonia. And I called up my girlfriend. I said, I can't drive myself, Larry. Hello? I said, I can't drive myself. I've got pneumonia. So she said, I'll take you. So I went there, I read, and they said, hold on a second. They brought in some more producers. And then I read again. They said, hold on a second. They brought in some more producers. I thought, damn. And then I was calling my agent, and she said, I said, I think it went well. She goes, went well. They're testing you tomorrow. So it was just one of those things that happened like that. I wasn't going to go to that audition. I wasn't feeling well, and I decided to do it, and it just worked out. Robert Hayes, oh my God, Robert Hayes was such a sweetheart. He treated all of us like his little sisters. And it was a fun show. And it was an incredible time at Paramount. Happy Days was there. Mork and Mindy was there. Laverne and Shirley was there. We were there. So it was just an incredible time to be there. Really.
Now, that show, Angie, was that Gary Marshall, was his production company?
Yes.
Okay.
It was Miller Milkus Boyette with the producers.
And you had told me when we first spoke that unfortunately the powers that be kind of screwed things up a little bit.
The second season, they changed everything, and they went from a top 10 show to getting canceled. And I'll never understand why they did that. Sometimes they think, mix things up a little bit. I wish they would have kept it the way it was. Anyway, it was a fun show to work on.
And one thing I learned, and you confirmed it, was that the great Doris Roberts, she actually, I saw, directed at least one of the episodes. I mean, that was a big deal for a female at that time.
It was a big woman to direct, yeah. She was a sweetheart. She was a sweet, great, wonderful woman. I'm so sorry she passed. We were trying to organize a reunion at the Pally Center, and then she passed. So I don't know what's going to happen.
So now you get written off of that show, and then kind of what paths did your career take after that?
Well, before I even got the show, I did want to tell you about my first audition, because this is a good story.
Sure, go ahead, absolutely.
The very first audition I had, I was at Universal. I was so happy. I had a legitimate audition. My agent got it for me, and I'm sitting there, and some girl that if I ever meet her in a dark alley is going to get it. She looks at me and she goes, "Oh, I'm not kidding." She said, "How'd you get this audition?" I said, "Oh, my agent." She goes, "My boyfriend's the director." And I thought, "Oh, good for you." She goes, "Why are you wearing that top?" I said, "What? Doesn't look good with your arms." I said, "What?" And she had me, I mean, she was, because sometimes when you're new, you don't know, people will try to psych you out before you walk in. So I walked in, and I was like, my first audition, I was so upset. Her boyfriend was the director, blah, blah, blah. So I read the part, and they said, "Diane, we just wrote another scene where she's crying. Do you want to read that part?" I went, "Oh my God, yes!" Just like poured the tears, and I got the part, and she didn't. So thank you, dear, wherever you are.
There you go. So her scheming actually backfired because she got you all prepped for that
She couldn't have done it better.
emotional scene. Yeah, and I bet you it probably wasn't her director after all, but her boyfriend.
They broke up or whatever. But I learned from that. Don't talk to people when you're in the audition room. Just sit there, do your work, talk to everyone afterwards, because God knows what you're going to hear and what they're going to tell you.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Ladies first.
Oh, thank you. I did a lot of guest star shows on everything from MacGyver to Who's the Boss to NCIS. Did a lot of things for Lifetime, a lot of things for Hallmark. Worked with some great directors. I worked with Paul Verhoeven on RoboCop. Are you familiar with RoboCop?
Yeah,
Do you want to hear that story, Larry?
We have a couple of images of you on that movie.
Where are these images? I'm not seeing them.
Yes, the audience is seeing them.
They
Yes,
are.
yeah,
Okay.
marvelous. You and Peter Weller and all the folks there. And let's see, we have one that I think is. Tell me, I know when he passed, you were devastated. Miguel Ferrer. Share a little.
Such a sweetheart. When I first got to Texas, he called me. He said, "Diane, we're doing a scene. It's kind of intimate. Would you like to go to dinner first so we get to know each other?" I said, "Oh, that's very sweet of you. Yes." So we're having dinner, and he says, "What do you do besides act?" I said, "Oh, I love to sing and dance." He goes, "My mom likes to sing." I said, "Oh, honey, that's so sweet." And I pictured some woman like singing around the house. I didn't know his mother was Rosemary Clooney. I mean, one of the greatest singers of all time.
That's right.
So we go to do the scene, and they've got me in a green leather dress, which, in retrospect, you don't wear green leather in Texas. It felt like I was inside of a hot green cow. I mean, it was hot, it was uncomfortable, and I don't know what they did for the cocaine, but if you do enough of it all night long, we all thought we were high. We were like this, and we're bouncing off the wall, what it was, baby powder, whatever. And the other girl that played, I know you're watching, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I'm gonna. She kept, when we go out, she kept hitting against the coffee table like 10 times. So finally, the director comes up to me and goes, "Diane, do something with that girl." So I said, "Come here, honey." I said, "The entire crew is going to beat you up if you knock into that one more time." I said, "Count how many steps. You do it wrong, I will personally slap you." So she did it right, and they were moving on. So then Peter comes up to me and goes, "Diane, I had an idea. Maybe you kiss this girl." I said, "The girl that keeps hitting her knee?" I said, "I don't think so." He said, "No, I think it'll be nice." I said, "You know what? My boyfriend's going to kill me for this." I said, we're just going to stop where we are. And then when we saw the movie, oh my God, we went with my boyfriend at the time and a bunch of people. We went out to eat afterwards, and he wouldn't speak to me. And what did I do that was so bad? You could see more at the beach, but
there you go. We've got a shot of you with that famous scene on the couch with your lady pal, and I assume that's powdered sugar, at least.
What it was. But I will say something about Paul Verhoeven. Paul Verhoeven on a set, he's so excited, he's so happy, he's so into each shot. You really feel the joy, and you really feel the energy from him. I loved working with him. And I recently, a few years ago, there was a reunion, and I hadn't gone to these reunions. I did the movie, I sort of forgot about it. And I brought my daughter at the time. So after she saw the scene, I said, "Well, what do you think?" She goes, "Well, it's not every day you see someone do cocaine off your mother's breast." I said, "Okay, just leave it with that." But she loved it. And then she went to school in Norway. She goes, Mommy, everybody knows you in Norway. Everybody loves RoboCop. So I'm amazed how that film has lasted so many years and people have loved it for so many years. So
we got a shot from, I guess, a recent reunion with you and Peter and the RoboCop on the right. But
yes,
again, as you and I were talking the other night off air, again, this is like such an iconic movie. I'm not surprised at what your daughter said because, again, it just people will never forget you, and you will live off that movie for the rest of your life.
Keep talking.
It is. It's true. I mean, well, you want to see some of this too, but
you know, it makes me happy. Like she's in college. I didn't know all the college kids watched that film. I didn't know the impact it had. So yeah, I'm proud to be part of that film.
And now you did a kind of a retrospective film recently about that. It was kind of a remembrance of RoboCop. Has that been released yet or no?
Oh, yes.
A documentary, yeah.
My God, that was an ambitious project. They interviewed like 100 people from the cast and crew that are involved in the RoboCop and all of them. And there were some guys from England. Chris Griffiths directed it. He's fantastic. So I'm dying to see how that turns out.
You also worked with a gentleman most people would know from Monty Python's Flying Circus, rather interesting gentleman, Terry Gilliam, who was the director on the Fisher King, the only Python member who's actually American-born. He's not British like many people think. Seems like a very interesting gentleman. Tell me a little bit about not only that movie, but what was it like working for him? He's directed some quite bizarre movies, to say the least.
Yes. The woman who produced that film, Deborah Hill, was one of my best friends, and she passed, unfortunately, several years ago. And whenever she got a script, she'd say, Diane, read it and see if there's a part that you like to audition for. She goes, you always have to audition. I said, that's all right. So I auditioned for Terry. He said, oh, I love her. And then we filmed with Jeff Bridges. That scene ended up getting cut because the film was very long. So he goes, Diane, he goes, when you see Jeff Bridges, maybe react to the fact his hair is long, he looks sort of unkempt, he doesn't look that great. I said, are you insane? I said, that's Jeff Bridges. He looks fantastic. And he looks over, he goes, oh, you're right. Okay, forget that note. So he was a lot of fun to work with. Robin Williams was fantastic. It was just sort of a magical movie. Really beautiful, beautiful movie.
No, I did not see that movie. Give me a quick synopsis. What was the movie about? I mean, because I know in that movie, I know it was several years ago, but Jeff, maybe it was the character. I mean, he's like pencil thin, and Robin, I mean, looks like, I don't know, like somebody just came out from being out on the street for too long. I mean, it's a kind of a dark movie, isn't it?
It is dark, and yet they found the humor in it. Yes, he had lost his wife and sort of lost his mind and fallen down, and Jeff just feels if he could bring him back up to the world, if he could redeem him, it would also fix his life. So it's a beautiful story. Beautiful, beautiful story.
And to stay on the topic of Robin Williams, of course, people still can't get over the loss of him several years ago. You worked with him later. We have a shot of you and another actor whose name escapes me at the moment. Was it a TV show, Willard? Was that where you worked with Robin?
First I met Robin. For some reason, we did ADR and looping on his sets when I was doing Angie and he was doing Mork and Mindy. So I remember going there, looping my lines, and Robin Williams did like a whole thing on me as a waitress and pretending to be me and making fun of my voice. And I thought, oh my God, Robin Williams is imitating me. Then on The Fisher King, he would do it to every crew member, to everyone. He could riff, he could think up things. He just always kept people happy. And on Wilfred, he was just such a sweet man and just a sweet, dear, incredible man.
Now, what year did you do that last appearance with Robin?
4 or 5 years ago.
Okay, so did you, from the Mork and Mindy to then the Fisher King, so you're talking a good chunk of time there. Did you notice, like, in that last encounter with him, did you notice a difference in him in terms of maybe the spark wasn't there like it used to be?
No, spark never left.
No.
Spark was always there. No,
Yeah.
he was always spectacular.
Kind of that, just almost manic. I mean, the way he would just come up with things, I mean, just, remarkable.
I never saw mine work like that. It's the creativity just like pops. Like he couldn't stop himself. It was fantastic. And he did it for everyone.
On the
You know?
Fisher King, Jeff Bridges must have just been standing there saying, well, I can't even keep up with this man. I mean, Jeff seems like more of a mellow guy. And as you said, Robin, you know, you might be able to keep up with Robin because you've got as much energy as he used to have, let me tell you.
That's so funny you say that because the producer said, Diane, there's not a lot scripted, but we need someone to keep up with Robin, and we have a feeling that you can. And that was the one time that Robin kept to the script because I kept waiting for him to go off script, and I thought, you know, it was the one time he didn't. But yes, keeping
Well,
up.
because in those days, that was really one of his first dramatic roles. So, I mean, that was like uncharted territory. As you said, it was maybe a dark comedy. I mean, do you recall any scenes where kind of his comedic, you know, thing maybe slipped something in that the producer said, well, leave it in? Because, you know, he used to ad-lib like constantly.
Right. No, I think they probably kept a lot of what he wanted to do in. I was referring to Wilfred about that, not ad-libbing.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably more on that one.
And now,
and Aladdin, I heard that he ad-libbed so much that it couldn't be up for Best Writer because he had written so much of it by ad-libbing. Yeah, he was spectacular.
you could have, you know, that was a movie I can remember seeing Aladdin and just sit in the theater, and I'm thinking this thing could go on for hours, and you would just be mesmerized by this man. You know, the character of Aladdin and all the other people in that film. I mean, it was just, but yeah, it was. I know you know this, but again, those of us not only watching but sitting here behind the desk. You were very, very gifted to have the opportunity to work with that gentleman, and of course, love the story about during the Paramount days and Mork and Mindy. Again, he must have been totally off the wall, Imagine if you were Pam Dauber, you wouldn't be able to. You'd be like.
She kept a straight face, but that's how I feel with my acting partner. I can't keep a straight face, but you'll meet him later. Go on.
Some other films she did: Adventures in Babysitting, The Relic. Again, now Christopher. Chris.
Oh, The Relic. I want to tell you about The Relic.
Sure, go ahead. The one you filmed in Chicago, correct?
Yes, I had worked with the director Peter Hyams before in a movie called Sudden Death, and he'd see me. You know, I was a hostage. I was crying. This and that for the whole movie. So in this, he said, we don't have a script, Diane. You just have to meet Gail Ann Hurd. She'll okay you, and you've got the part. So I met with her. She okayed me. So we got to Chicago, and the first night, they've got me in a gorgeous evening gown, and I'm coming out of a limousine with my husband, Robert Lesser, and we're going into this big event. And I said, oh, my God, this is so fantastic. And Peter looks at me and goes, wait. I said, wait. Wait for what? He goes, just wait, Diane. You won't be so happy. I said, what the hell is he talking about? So the next day, again, they got me all fixed up and put on the evening gown. And someone comes over with a hose. And they said, we need to hose you down. I said, what are you talking about? They said, you're going to be wet for 3 months. You're in a museum. The water comes out from this, you know, there's a fire. The water comes out, blah, blah, blah. I said, but no. I'm friends with the director. I said, let me straighten this out.
Feisty even then, I can tell you that. She's going to take over the production.
I said, no. I said, Peter, they have this fantasy that they're going to hose me down. I said, that's not going to happen. He said, Diane, either they hose you down or I hose you down. You pick. He said, one way or the other, you're going to be wet for 3 months. So we were in the sewers of Chicago, literally in the sewers, in this filthy water. I didn't even want to know what was in it, reacting to Stan Winston's monster, who it wasn't there, you never even saw it. So you're crying and you're yelling and you're screaming and you're running, and it's the middle of the night. We never had so much fun. We were cold, we were wet, we were miserable. Loved it. We'd do it again in a second. Had the best time, the best crew, everyone.
Amazing. In the sewers of Chicago, Jimmy Hoffa could have been there for all we know, and no one would have known. They were having so much fun. We have a shot of you and a gentleman probably taken recently, but I know you did his show back in the day, Malcolm in the Middle, Bryan Cranston, right? He played the dad on that show, so you go back with him a few years, yeah?
We talk about how you can never typecast a person, from Malcolm in the Middle to Breaking Bad. We do everything that would be the same person. I mean, he was spectacular in both. And sweet, sweet man.
And look at some of the movies and productions he's been in. He's done Broadway, and I mean, some great biopics. Trying to think, I think he played Lyndon Johnson in a recent movie. So a guy that everybody thought, okay, he's good. You know, actually the mother on that show was the one I think that was getting all the nominations. And of course, the cute kid there, Frankie Muniz. But Bryan, my God, it was like a diamond in the rough, that gentleman.
Exactly.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, and we've got so much more to talk with Diane. We're going to take a little break, and then we're going to bring in her writing partner and co-star Davide Reali, and so we'll be right back here on Studio 411. And we're back here on Studio 411. Diane Robin joining us for the episode. And now we welcome in not only a co-star on a project that she is involved with, as well as co-writer with Diane, Davide Reali, Italian actor, joining us as well from California. Davide, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for calling me. Ciao, Larry.
There you go. Thank you. You guys have created and co-written a project called Strange Therapy. Tell me, Davide, how did this whole idea from the beginning, how did it come about? Did you guys even know each other back then?
Good question, Larry.
Very good question. I have to say that I met last year Diane because we had a friend in common, and then we mixed and found a sort of artistic chemistry. So we started to talk, about our professional lives, and then I started to send her. I wanted to work with her. I think she's an amazing professional actress and an amazing artist. And so I sent her an idea, and she told me at the beginning, well, but we can transform it in something more. So it was very funny because I live in Bologna now, and so we started to work on our script, and we finished it. Starting from this very, very simple idea I had, she transformed it into something bigger. So now we can do a web series with these ideas. Yeah, we have to transform. And then we started to share our ideas. And in only 6 weeks, we wrote the script. And sometimes I had many times, not sometimes, many times I had the idea that maybe because we had some ideas at the same time. I was writing her on a mail or a WhatsApp, and she was writing the same. So sometimes we said maybe there are some aliens that put some microchip in our minds because it's really unbelievable. I never had in my life a connection so deep with an artist, and so we finished to shoot it last weekend, and I have to say that I'm very happy to know Diane because she's an amazing actress. I've never worked with an actress like her. Perfect, professional, funny, emotional, full of colors, and I have to say that she paid me a lot to say this.
Now, I'll let the audience. I'll let the audience in on a secret. If we get them to turn their heads, you'll actually see that there is a chip embedded in their heads, which is why there's so much copacetic and kismet going on between these two. It's
kismet. He just said the word kismet.
Yeah, kismet.
Yeah.
There you go. See?
You're the second.
There you go. See?
On top of that, we have a theory that we share the brain. I have it Sunday and Thursday. He has an alternate day because seriously, something very weird is going on. We're terrified that they want to cut our brains open and study us to figure out what's going on because it's weird.
Today is her day to have a man.
Oh,
so
there you go.
I don't want to I cannot hear.
Don't ask him any big, life important questions.
Well, the day is almost over, so get ready. You'll be picking up the baton soon. Midnight, it's your turn. It's your turn. Now, tell me the movie or the web series, Strange Therapy, without giving too much away. Again. What role do you play? Actually, you play multiple roles. We'll start with Diane. What role does Diane play?
Yeah, I think that I have to say that this is a story of a shrink who had her license revoked, and she's going in this series. We're going to meet a lot of her a lot of our patients, and I think that at the end of this, so I had a lot of fun to play very different patients, and with some problems because you you usually go to a shrink if you have some problems. But at the end of the story, Dr. Sophia, she's the name of her character, will know something about herself and about life. Very important. So the web series is very, very funny. I think that because the both of us want to bring joy, and but also some messages that will give everybody the possibility to understand much better some of ourselves, of themselves, exactly what Dr. Sophia did in this web series. But of course, you have to watch it, and this is.
But she's not a normal shrink. Let's be honest. She had her license revoked for sleeping with one of her patients. Okay, so since she's still practicing, now she tells people what she really thinks. Which, how often do you get to really hear a shrink tell you what they really think of you? So she says everything she's ever wanted to tell anyone, and he plays all these different characters. And I will say, he is the most gifted actor I've ever met in my life. He can do anything. He can do comedy. He can do drama. He can do every different character. There's nothing you can throw at him that he go, oh, I can't do it. He can do anything. I've never had more fun ever in my life.
From this, I can tell you that the money transfer arrived.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
We're just trading.
Yes.
I give him the money. He gives me the money. Either way, it goes back and forth.
We support each other.
Yeah.
We support each other.
Now, this production, again, you co-star in it, you co-wrote it. Obviously, it sounds like you're co-producing it, so obviously you're financing the project. So, of course, that's like in any project.
Fights we've been in, Larry. Ask how many fights we've been in.
Oh, you fight occasionally?
Never.
Oh, never? Okay.
It's the most easygoing thing I've ever, it's just easy.
Well, that's because that left and right side of the brains are all meshing together.
Yeah.
You walked the door.
Now, I have to ask Davide a question. I saw a clip of something you did in Italy. Of course, there were no subtitles, so I just kind of had to go with the description that I had. Did you do a production that had something to do with, based on fact or fiction, with the story of Princess Diana, or did I misunderstand that? Was there a film that you did that I saw a clip on YouTube, and I thought you were very good in it. I just wish I could understand what was being said.
Maybe we were trying something for the.
No. This was something, a production of something he did from a year or two ago that I saw on YouTube, and the description was the story had something to do with in the wake of Princess Diana's death. This was a fictional story. No. I wish I had the clip to show you, but anyway, yeah.
Thank you. But the reason I wanted to work with him were two reasons. One, I thought he was incredibly funny, but two, I had seen his work. It was phenomenal. And everyone that's seen it here is like, oh my God, this guy is fantastic. So.
Next movie is coming out from here, in Italy. Is I shoot it in Italy, and it's coming out next April. And I played as Charles Darwin.
Oh, really?
Charles Darwin, yeah.
Wow.
Long beard,
very long beard, and we shot it in Bologna in the house of Giosuè Carducci, an Italian very famous poet, and this is this coming up next April. This is my last Italian movie, and I'm also on the stage with a theater play, and I started it last December, and we have more nights next April in Bologna and in Rome and Milan. This is my next job.
So your plan is now you're going to kind of work both here in the States on a regular basis, as well as projects back in Europe. Gotcha, in Italy.
We're already writing Strange Therapy 2.
There you go. And now the first one is what? How many? 6, 8, 10 episodes?
It's 6 episodes. They're 6 minutes each. They go fast. You have to watch it. You will love it. You'll laugh. Everyone's laughed and seen it.
There you go. There you go. Now, Davide, when you were growing up, same question I asked Diane. What did you do you remember as a young boy? What did you want to be when you grew up? You said at 6, 7, 8 years old. Oh, did you want to be an actor? Did you have other aspirations that maybe you wanted to do something else?
No, I think that's being an actor is my path, and I have to say this is my first experience in USA, and it's so different. And I had an amazing experience doing it, and to find an amazing artist. Like Diane, but also,
Money transfer.
giving money, the money. And,
Oh, is that what she was doing? I thought that motion was like a shovel. You know what I'm saying? Diane knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. like this. So you got.
Yeah. I want to spend also one word about our amazing director. He is Bob Burgess, and the amazing crew we had on the set. Very, you can understand why USA are the #1 in the world for making movies, and I hope every Italian actor could have the possibility I had, because here you can understand very well how to be an actor, and you have the possibility to have here Diana. She's I swear to you, I'm not joking. She's the best actress I've ever worked with in my life. She's amazing, really. It's from my heart, it's from my mind. So I really hope to to be on the same level, and that was my goal, and I really hope to have obtained that and to get it. Also because we want people watching the web series. We want to make them laugh, and it's to bring them joy. And I hope that we can get this goal, because it was very important for us while we were writing the script, and it is what we really feel about the Strange Therapy.
Actors Diane Robin and Davide Reali joining us here on Studio 411. We have a photo. I wanted to bring that up to show again, and I'm sure when Diane saw this image, an image of Davide probably in another role, very dashing, very dashing. Now, Davide, what influences as far as actors when you were growing up? Mainly European actors, or were there any American actors that you influenced you in your career?
Absolutely American. Yeah. I have to say that I was lucky, and I think that everything that happens in your life prepares to your next experience. I had the possibility to work for 4 years with Italian-American directors. One of them was Francesca De Sapio, and Francesca worked with Al Pacino, and at the Actor Studios she worked there with also Lee Strasberg, and they worked together for many years during the Richard III. Al Pacino was Richard III. Francesca De Sapio was Lady Anne. So I worked with her. I worked with for a couple of years with Danny Lammo. He's a life membership of the Actor Studio. So I have to say that I love the way of I love American actors. They are the best in the world, in my opinion. And I think that I can watch so many Italian movies, and I love American. I love Americans. For one of my best actor is Al Pacino. Al Pacino is in my heart, and I think that he inspired a lot of a European actor as me. So my best is the American school, for sure.
Last time he was here, I'm in the academy, and they had a lot of screenings of things when people would come. And the first one we went to, Nicole Kidman was there. He goes, "I've never seen this before in my life. You watch a movie, and then Nicole Kidman comes out and talks to you." I said, "Well, you're an American now." And then we saw one with Al Pacino, and he said, "Al Pacino, Al Pacino." I mean, he has a lot of admiration for him. But I will tell you one thing that I didn't want to say. There's one more cast member.
Yeah.
Robert Lester, who's fantastic in this, fantastic. And he's the one that got us our director, Bob Burgos, who
Absolutely.
is genius with comedy, genius with heart. But one thing that was really important to both of us, we said everyone on the crew, anyone in the cast, we want to see their work, or at least have someone who would vet them and say they're fantastic, but they had to have heart. We only wanted to have people on the show and around us that had a good heart, good energy, loved doing it.
Harmony. Harmony and joy. That was a very...
Yeah. That's, I think, what really helped the
and now
project.
the first 6 episodes of this web series, now, how long did it take to film from start to finish?
Well, we did it very quickly.
We were the producer, so go, fast. So, at the beginning, okay.
We could have done 10 episodes in the time we've been with you.
Diane, now we are the producer. Go to the actor and go to the actor and say fast. And Diane went to Davide, fast. Okay, producer.
Oh boy, I could see her wearing the producer's hat. I'm surprised there wasn't a whip involved.
There was a whip involved. I used a whip in the show.
Oh.
I love it. Whip.
There you go.
He's one of us.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. If I turn backward, you'll see the import.
You have the same. Larry, you have the same.
Oh boy.
Oh my God.
When did I lose control of this interview?
These aliens are conquering USA and the world. Oh my God.
Oh, we've got a little sneak peek shot of the web series here. The two of them dancing away. Surprisingly, that I must be telepathic. That dress looks very familiar. I don't know where I've seen that.
I'm gonna wear that dress till it falls off me. I love that dress.
When you see that dress, you have to, like the old TVs, don't adjust the horizontal hold. Okay, you know. Otherwise,
don't wear it in the bright light. Yes.
Otherwise, the whip may come out. But anyway, no, it's a very lovely dress, and you. As Groucho Marx would say, you make a lovely couple. So that's very, oh my goodness.
Very funny, Larry.
I know, we try. We steal from other people material, but oh my God. So I have to ask, what was...
Okay, sorry.
Our
show is funny, but it's romantic. It's a little sexy. It's a little heartfelt. It's a lot of things. It's not just on one.
A lot of colors and a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
Well,
each episode is about 60 minutes, but I think that it's a very, very...
Who wrote this show?
Who?
Who wrote it?
You two did.
You have the brain now. Don't ask me.
This is a scene they're doing 30 years from now when they look at each other and they say, "Who wrote this?" And none of them will remember.
Wait, I have to tell you one thing.
I'll send them a copy of the episode to remember. There you go.
At Christmas time, he was sick. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry you're sick. Page 32, top of the show.
Please.
And I just kept cracking the whip.
Diane, I'm sick.
I don't care.
I have the fever.
I don't care. So that's how we work.
I'm telling you. We'll start with Diane. What was the first movie that you remember seeing as a kid that influenced you in your acting career?
Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz.
And the first part I ever played was Dorothy in the Wizard of Oz. So yes, Judy Garland. That was the first movie.
So you, like me, you'd see it when it used to come on CBS back in the day, usually on a Sunday night, and you'd be like, oh my God. And of course, in those days, we still had a black and white set, so we couldn't appreciate the transition from the color to the black and white from Kansas to Oz, but we got to appreciate that later on. Dad didn't believe in color in those days. Davide, how about you? What was the first movie that you saw as a kid growing up that influenced you to want to be an actor?
You mean for television movie?
No, a motion picture.
A movie, not a TV movie.
Not a TV movie, not a movie. A movie was in 2000 and oh my God, and 8.
No, he said when you grew up, when you were a little boy, what did you see that made you want to be in a movie? When you were little?
A motion picture. A motion picture. Yeah.
Watching the movie? Oh, I have to say that I started when I was a child. I started, to sing when I was 5 years old. I remember that Grease was one of my favorite. I had, I think, 7 years old, and I remember that in Italy you had the possibility to watch the same movie. You paid only one ticket, but you could stay at the theater. I've seen that afternoon for 3 times, and then. Oh my God! And I fell in love with Olivia Newton-John. And that was my inspire. I want to be there. And in fact, they Grease in LA,
Yes.
Yeah, of course. So.
Now, here's something, because you mentioned the movie, and I mean this as a compliment to Diane. Do you remember the character Rizzo in Grease? Remember the tough one, the brunette? Yeah. Look at her. She could have played Rizzo in that movie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
you. Instead of Stockard Channing, she could have been Rizzo. She could have been the one giving Olivia a lot of.
You just gave us an idea for Stranger Therapy 3.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
You can be.
There you go. See, it's that electrode in the back of my skull. You see that right there? No, I mean that's good. So now she will play. Now you're playing this crazy psychiatrist. And again, basically, Davide is doing the variety of different caricatures. In your case, again, you're playing that one psychiatrist who, I guess, has different not affairs, but is attracted to a lot of her patients, or just the one?
Oh. So he has the brain.
There you go, yeah.
Today is your day.
Yeah.
That is one of the things you will discover. Sorry. 1, 2, 3.
There you go. Oh.
The whole show has a twist. What you think you're watching, you reveal, that's what's really happening. So I can't tell you what that is.
I have the brains, they say. I wouldn't. The wife doesn't say that, but I'll take their word for it. Yeah. We have remaining few moments here on Studio 411. Actors Diane Robin and Davide Reali. The web series called Strange Therapy, to be followed by. They'll have a whole franchise of these here. I'm telling you. Let me toss it back to Diane for a second. You played. Was it in Revenge of the Nerds? Did you play in one of those movies?
Yes, I played Aunt Lois, who liked to have sex with nerds.
And I couldn't remember who the gentleman that you were in this. No, who was the one that you were in the scene with that your character was attracted to?
Ray Brinkley.
Oh yeah, I don't remember him.
Taco Bell commercials, and then he's gone on to do so many things. He's always on a series. He's fantastic.
There you go, and that was quite a role. We have a shot too. Before I forget, this was going back to the '90s. You were talking about Who's the Boss and so many shows that you did. You had a chance to act on a short-lived show called George and Leo with the great Bob Newhart. We have a photo of the two of you.
Do you know what I learned from Bob Newhart? Shut up, because he's going to get a very long laugh, and shut up again, because he would get a laugh, and then he'd turn his head and do something, get another laugh, and then turn his head the other way again. I've never seen anything like it. With the most minimal of movements and thoughts, he would bring the house down.
And that was with Judd Hirsch, correct?
Judd Hirsch.
And that, I mean, I was amazed that that show didn't do better than it did. I mean, it was two characters.
The luck of the draw, but they were fantastic together. And I learned a lot from Bob Newhart. And what a sweet, sweet man. Yeah.
And then another show you did, too, that I remember, you were on NCIS a couple of years ago, Michael Weatherly. And then I watched the clip, and you played a kind of a gal pal of Robert Wagner. I thought that was quite a twosome there you were wedged between. Huh? Pretty good.
Again, I'll tell you, yes, it was an embarrassment of riches. What did I tell you? They're both gorgeous. But my daughter Devin was watching it, and I said, Devin, in real life, would I be with the younger man or the older man? She said, oh, Mommy, you clearly have unresolved daddy issues. You'd pick the older man. I said, you're right.
Well, I'll tell you, Michael isn't too shabby either.
They're both gorgeous. But Robert Wagner, from that era where men, he had a thing where he put on his hat, and just the way he put on his hat and adjusted the brim, it made your knees weak. It's from a day gone by when men, acted that way, dressed that way.
Oh, he's a throwback to classic Hollywood. I mean, came up in the late '40s, and then actually had a chance to speak with him. We're trying to get him and a gentleman he went to school with, Bud Burton Moss, who's a big Hollywood agent for many, many years. Trying to get them. They're both, they're like this. They're like pals. They're like you two. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but yeah, Robert is good. Robert is tremendous.
And Michael Weatherly could not have been sweeter, kinder. I have to say one thing about NCIS. It must start with Mark Harmon. The nicest set I've ever been on. Everyone introduces himself. Everyone is kind to you. At the table read, every cast member comes over to you. Just a class act.
And did you get to? You probably didn't have any scenes with him, but David McCallum, who still appears occasionally on that show.
I met him at the table read. He was there. It's just a sweet sweetheart.
Oh yeah.
Really.
I mean that show will just never end. I think it's like past 15 years. My God, your web series should go as long as this. You'll never work in Italy again.
Yes.
Now, one of you were telling me, is there thoughts? I mean, you could do it probably with computer graphics, but
we're going to Bologna, Larry.
That's what I was.
Ask me.
That's what I was going to say.
Start work, Larry. We knew what you were going to say.
There you go. You see.
Yeah. Yes, we want to film season 2 in Bologna.
We are going to film, yes, in Bologna, Strange Therapy too. We had just in these days we are putting down the idea, and I really think that we are going to shoot the Strange Therapy 2 there. Bologna, it's an amazing city. I have usually to say that it's in between Florence and Venice, but in the last years now we had a lot of American tourists also coming because the great food, great places, great museum, and places to visit. So I really think and I really hope that Strange Therapy 2 will be shooted in Bologna.
Very good.
That's our goal.
And we will look for Strange Therapy, and we thank our guests for today on Studio 411, the great Diane Robin and Davide Reali. A pleasure to have you both. You hang in there with us, and best of luck in your adventures, and I will send any ideas telepathically in short order.
Now we are connected with the same microchip.
That's right. That's right. Oh,
microchip.
A regular threesome. There you go. So,
thank you for having us.
Thank you. You hang in there with us a second, and we thank you for joining us here on this episode of Studio 411. Larry DeSilva is my name. We look forward to seeing you again next time. Take care.